Today we're going to discuss why firms comply with institutional expectations. At first glance, the answer seems obvious. Firms comply because they have to. But when we look more closely, there are two broad sets of explanations in the literature: rational choice arguments and social arguments. From a rational public choice perspective, firms weigh the expected benefits and costs of compliance and non-compliance. Compliance may avoid fines, sanctions, or exclusion from markets, while non-compliance might bring short-term gains but also risks reputational damage or legal penalties. In this sense, compliance is a calculated decision. Firms act in ways that maximize their expected net benefit. Take Tesla and emission regulations. Producing cars that meet the European Union emission standards is costly. It requires advanced technology and expensive compliance processes. But the cost of not complying would be even higher. Tesla could lose access to the EU market, face fines, or damage its brand. From a rational perspective, firms comply simply if it is the option with the highest net benefit. But rational choice alone does not tell the full story. From a social perspective, firms are also embedded in networks of peers, stakeholders, and broader society. Here, compliance is influenced by normative pressure. Firms adopt practices because others in their field do, because it feels morally appropriate, or simply because this is how things are done. Peer effects, legitimacy, and moral considerations shape organizational behavior, often beyond what cost-benefit calculations alone would predict. Tesla, for example, presents itself as a mission-driven company that accelerates the transition to sustainable energy. This framing resonates with societal expectations around climate change. By positioning compliance with environmental norms not only as necessary but as morally right, Tesla would gain legitimacy with customers, investors, and employees, as long as these groups believe these claims, of course. Peer effects also play a role. As other automakers started to invest heavily in electric vehicles, the pressure increased on Tesla to keep pushing the technological frontier. Here, compliance with institutional expectations is not just about rules, but about fitting in. This brings us to the idea of isomorphism. Over time, firms within the same industry or country often start to look more alike, as they align with the same institutional expectations. At first sight, this seems to clash with the strategic management idea of competitive advantage, which emphasizes being distinct from competitors. If all firms conform, how can any firm stand out? Well, this apparent contradiction can be resolved. Firms are not passive recipients of their environments. They can choose which environments they operate in. For example, which countries or industries to enter. Within those environments, firms may also selectively comply, choosing to align with some institutional expectations while resisting or bypassing others. In doing so, they balance legitimacy with distinctiveness, conformity with differentiation. So, to summarize, rational arguments highlight cost-benefit considerations. Social arguments emphasize peer influence and moral legitimacy. And while isomorphism may look at odds with competitive advantage, firms manage this tension by choosing their environment and by making strategic choices about where and to what extent they comply.